back in familiar territory today, making Christina Tosi milk bar recipes. I love making these things. You know, each time I do, there's always a long list of ingredients and multiple different steps I have to take, new techniques and skills I need to learn really fast. But each time I make one of these, I look back at them and, you know, these are some of my most proudest moments. You know, I always feel very, proudest moments like in the kitchen, not in real life. But I always feel like I accomplished something. Something, you know, it's like the finished product looks like a trophy. I could probably put it up on a mantle somewhere. That's why today we're gonna be making her banana cream pie recipe, which is from her cookbook. It's a good cookbook. You should get her cookbook, not a plug. I picked this one because of the bright, pretty colors. So, flashy objects. Let's make it over here. There are only two different parts to this recipe today, the chocolate pie crust and the banana cream filling. We're gonna be starting with our crust. Let me go over what we're using. All-purpose flour, all-purpose sugar, all-purpose salt, butter, cocoa powder, cornstarch. First things first, heat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit.
It is 176.7 degrees Celsius.
Half a cup of flour, 3/4 teaspoon of cornstarch, 2/3 cup of sugar, half a cup of cocoa powder, and a teaspoon of salt. With my trusty hand mixer, or stand mixer, mix on low speed. Add 6 tablespoons of melted butter on low speed. Until it comes together into small clusters. Small clusters. Get this onto some parchment paper on a baking dish. Into the oven it goes. 20 minutes. Clusters all like came together into one big thing. So I just went in there with a whisk, started breaking them up. I'm sure it's fine. For the next part, you're gonna need a food processor. Don't have one, using a blender. Transferring my warm crumbs to the blender. Blending this up until it's sandy. Gonna use my hand blender instead. Made a mess, but it's done. Transfer the mixture to a 10-inch pie dish. With your fingers and your palms of your hands, press the chocolate crust firmly into the tin. With your fingers and your palms, push the crust against the bottom and the sides of this tin. I think this crust needs to be blended better. We're moving on to our banana cream filling. Let's go over the ingredients really quickly and then we'll get started. Lactose-free milk, cornstarch, 2½ cups of sugar, cream of tartar if you got it. I never do, and I've given up trying to look for it. I'm using a lemon for lemon juice. Yellow food coloring, 3 eggs, some water. So the banana situation is a curious one to me. I have some of the ripest bananas I could find at the store. And I also had these ones hanging out in the freezer for quite a while. I took them out, I thawed them out, but I am scared. We are going back to the blender. These bananas scare the living hell out of me. I'm gonna use these freezer bananas. Oh dear God. Well. So there's 2 different versions of this recipe you can use. There's one from the cookbook, there's one from online. InStyle.com, your place for all your style needs. I'm actually following the one from that website because it's using lactose-free milk, which sounded more my speed than the usual heavy cream and whole milk, which is used in the cookbook recipe. You can go either way, totally up to you. Dealer's choice. Okay, 1/2 cup of lactose-free milk. We're blending this until it's, we're blending until it's silky smooth. Now once that's pureed, add half a cup of sugar. I hope I did that right. I hope I did that, yes. Into blender mixture, yes. Yes, okay. Whew. 2 tablespoons, 2 teaspoons of cornstarch, separating our eggs. We'll come back to our egg whites in a minute. Add in 3 egg yolks, half a teaspoon of salt. Blend this up until it's homogeneous. Transfer to a saucepan. Wash out your blender. We're not done with this yet. What we gotta do is turn the stove on to medium-high heat. We gotta cook the starch out of that mixture, and we also have to thicken it up. It's gotta be like glue, like borderline cement, as she says. Like glue. Putting the mixture back into the blender. Blending this up until it's smooth again. Half a teaspoon of yellow food coloring ought to do it. I'm using the gel. The liquid cannot be trusted. I'm aiming for this to turn cartoon yellow. Transfer to a container with a lid. Put this in the fridge for at least 30 minutes. It needs to chill completely. Moving on. Meanwhile, on high heat, I'm gonna add half a cup of sugar and half a cup of water. Heating this up until it reaches 240 degrees Fahrenheit. $240. Moving on to the egg whites. We gotta make meringue. Let's add a 1/4 teaspoon of lemon juice. We're gonna whip our egg whites into soft peaks. So I had to reheat the syrup because it hardened up, but it's good again. I'm gonna add the hot syrup into my meringue while the mixer's running. Turn the mixer to high, and we're gonna keep mixing this until it's even stiffer than it was before. It's been like 40 minutes. I retrieved my yellow mixture from the fridge. It's funny looking, but it's cold. I'm gonna add this into the meringue. Now with some good old-fashioned elbow grease, I'm going to whisk until homogeneous. We're gonna dunk half of this into the pie crust, and then we're gonna place a banana on top. Shit, I gotta cut a banana. Only half of it into the pie crust. Pour the remaining mixture on top of the bananas. I am completely empty of mixture and I didn't fill the whole thing. Damn it all to hell. Now this thing is a bit too wobbly for me, so I'm gonna have it go in the fridge and firm up. That is another winner. That is really good. The first sugar fix I've had in over a month, so it's hit me really hard right now. I gotta get it out of my face. Now the crust of that pie was unbelievable. The filling was good too. The filling was really good, but the crust. Oh, the crust had a little saltiness going on too, on top of being sweet. And then that banana really comes through in the filling, like a lot. A couple things to note. Firstly, you'll notice how thin my crust was. My crust. I made it too thin. You can go thicker on that. Now secondly, I wasn't actually fond of how runny the cream filling ended up being. It's a bit too messy. I didn't get my glamour shot. Now I've been reading people who have made this recipe in the past, copycat recipes, and they're adding gelatin into the filling. So that's really gonna firm it up. It's gonna really hold itself in there. So when you're cutting out a slice, it's not gonna spill, I think. Ooh. So yeah, still haven't received those goodies from Christina Tosi. Still waiting on those. They're probably stuck in the mail, right? I hope you guys enjoyed the show. And if you did, you're not already a subscriber, then you could definitely subscribe. That would be awesome. And if you are a subscriber, thank you. I have the link for my Patreon down below. Patreon is a way to support the show if you're interested in that. You could have your name up here, like these lovely people. But if you're not interested, of course, that's totally cool too. The show is for free, so see you guys soon.